He was a Vietnam veteran, and he just had a training camp, if you will, out on his property. And well before we got there, I mean, all the older kids were going out there, and he would get people ready to go into the special forces. So that was a unique experience. That was one of those things I wish I could have quit, because it was tough.
I cannot imagine that.
Because when you first started, he didn't care about you. He didn't like you. You were more of a nuisance to him when you first got out there because you were behind everybody else. So you really had to. I remember, I think it was probably the first 2.5, 3 months I was there, I was the worst one in the bunch. I was the weakest. I was the slowest. And good Lord, I would pay the man. I mean, he would lay into me. He left me to die twice that I remember, and told me, he's like, I hope you die, and just walked off. And I was sitting there just like,
And how old are you?
I was 14, 15 years old when I started.
Wow.
And then I did it all the way till I finished, I was 22 out of college.
With this guy?
Same guy. Mm-hmm. And then even after I got into the SEAL teams, when I would come back off leave or something like that, I'd bring some of my teammates home with me, and we'd go over there, and Billy would work us out and try and get us ready to go back over.
Was that even as difficult as buds in some ways, or not that intense?
It was different, and I would say harder in some regards because I was young, and I didn't know. I mean, my dad, he was a yeller and a violent man, and he kind of threw it on me and my brother pretty regularly, so I could handle a whooping. Yeah. And I can bleed just like anybody else. That doesn't bother me. But it got to a point to where when I literally couldn't do the things he wanted me to do, it was affecting me mentally and emotionally, because I just thought I was weaker than everybody else. I don't like that.
Right.
I don't like the fact that, and I'm not saying I'm a Superman or anything like that, but if I see somebody who's stronger than me and something that I'm trying to do, I'm going to work harder till I'm stronger than they are. And that's what he taught us. He's just like, you want to be here? You want what I have? You want this? You need to work. You need to push yourself. I mean, and there were days where I literally would have to just completely sit down in the shower just to wash my hair. And I think my mother tried to take me to the hospital a few times because I was just so beat down. And it's like, no, I'm good. I'll heal up. I just got to get back in there. And that's what he preached. He was just every day. He's like, you're only here for a little while. It's like, take full advantage of it. He goes, when you slide up to the pearly, he goes, when you get up there and you're checking in, he goes, you can either walk in there with a perfect, pristine body, and I'm sure they're going to look at you going, you didn't take advantage of anything I gave you. He's like, when my boys, Billy, when he referred to him as his boys, he goes, when y'all get up there, y'all going to slide in there sideways, and they're going to go, good Lord, you took advantage of everything we gave you. I mean, it's baling wire holding us together.
What would you say, though, growing up in a family like you did, not to get too detailed, but what would you say generally to encourage people, like they're looking at you going like, man, my father, my mother, they're this, they're that. I mean, what would you say?
Sure. Your parents are there to mold you and guide you, and if you don't have that or whatever, my brother and I molded our character and the way we would live our lives as a direct opposite of what my father was.
So you can learn what not to do.
Right. I don't run a cop-out to people who's like, well, my father beat me, and this is why I'm a serial killer. Yeah. My father beat me every day. Mm-hmm. I mean, first time I ever got knocked out was by my dad. So I don't believe in that. Mm-hmm. And I don't have anger issues. Well, I mean, when I was working, it was a different story because I got paid to do that. But anyways, I've never even raised my voice to my wife. She's never seen me angry. I've never cussed at her or anything like that. She's the most important thing in my life. So are my kids.
That's great.
And I don't believe in that. So I mean, the only thing I can tell somebody,
that's great.
If they're dealing with that, is just to stay focused and keep the course and know that you're better than that. And I mean, sure, anybody can cop out and be like, well, I was dealt a bad hand. Yeah. So what? Everybody is. Life's tough. Suck it up.
That's right.
And just, push forward. And I think that's one of the things that makes the training so tough, is just knowing that in the back of your head, like any second now I could be gone for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. Injury, they don't like me, they want to, whatever it is, I'm out of here. And if you want something so bad, that you were literally put on this planet to do that job, and it's in the hands of somebody else, no matter how hard you took it. I told them first, I made a point to go up to the instructors. I said, you're going to have to kill me to get me out of here. I'm not going anywhere. And they were like, well, all right, we'll try and get that done. And they did. So they tried to kill
So
me.
you told the instructor that?
Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. I was new. I was
Yeah,
young.
yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
hey, I'm beating on my chest.
Yeah.
Like, you have to kill me to get me out of here. That was the stupidest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Marcus, that was hilarious in your book when you talked about, because you said you're not a natural runner, the distance and running, and that was with the sand and the boot, and it just,
Man, yeah.
that was hilarious.
I had a lot of crosses to bear when the thing about buds training is that no matter who you are or what kind of athlete you are,
They'll find the weakness.
they'll find it and they'll exploit it.
And
Well, I
you're-
had plenty of them.
Okay, what were your weaknesses, Marcus? Obviously, we know
Yeah,
your strengths.
the only thing I had going for me when I got in there is I could swim like a fish. And
Now, where did you learn how to swim in East Texas?
well, my father was a collegiate swimmer.
Oh,
and
okay, well.
Eagle Scout and
Yeah.
you know, all that stuff. So apparently, I don't remember this, but when we were young, my dad took my brother and I by the back of our shirts and threw us in this river/pond, and my brother drowned and wound up in the hospital. And somebody pulled me out. That was his way of saying sink or swim kind of deal. But we learned how to swim, and that's what I was
Marcus,
good at.
so you had, how many people in your Buds class started the class? How many people started with Buds, and how many made it?
164 started and 10 made it. And my brother had 254, I think, and 16 made it.
Whoa. And you broke your femur.
I did.
How did that happen?
It was after Hell Week, and we were doing there's this evolution called the Monster Mash. It's kind of a Hoo-yah type deal. I think you run 6 miles, you come in, you jump in the ocean, you swim a mile and a half, you come back, you run an O course, you do the 80-foot rope climb and everything. Well, something happened, and I'm trying to figure out what it was, but I did something to upset one of the instructors, I think, and he made me carry a car tire. So I had this car tire around my neck, and I did the whole thing, and I tried to swim with it. I swam out through the surf and was swimming through the ocean, and I didn't make it the whole mile. I started to sink. So I towed that thing in, and I came back, and I had to do the 80-foot rope climb. So I put my tire back on, and it had water in it, and I climbed to the top of the rope.
With a tire?
Yes, sir. And when I reached up to grab you got to hit the top of the I-beam. That's when you...
Yes.
And I started to slide, and I fell. And I fell from the top of the rope all the way down, and I landed in the sand on my feet, and I rolled over onto that tire. It was kind of propping me up, and the instructor was saying, "You want to quit? You going to quit? Get out of here." And I was like, "No, I'm not going to quit." And I got up on the rope, and I climbed back up. Well, by the time I got out to the rope, because I was carrying that tire, everything was the ropes were real slippery and wet and sandy. And I crawled up again. I got to the top. I hit the rope, the I-beam, and I fell again. I started to slide. I actually wrapped my arm around it so I wouldn't fall straight down, and it just kind of degloved my forearm, and then my arm finally fell out of the rope, and I fell again. And when I hit the ground, I fractured my femur and my pelvis. So I just limped off on it. I didn't tell him anything. I felt it. It felt like I had pulled my groin.
Yeah.
Is what it felt like. And I said, I'm okay. He made me, they surf tortured me because I fell. And then I ran on it for another 2 weeks. We went to second phase and the dive phase. And when our first 4 mile timed run, I was way in the back. Well, I was always in the back, but I was way back. I think I had hit 3 miles at 45 minutes or something. And it was pitch black. I couldn't see, and it was still dark outside. And all of a sudden, these headlights come up, and the instructor said, "Who are you?" And I was like, "It's Luttrell."
Yeah.
"What are you doing back here?" I was like, "I think I pulled my groin." And they were like, "Well, get in the ambulance, the suburban ambulance." And they were like, "Wait a minute, first go get wet and sandy." And I was like, "All right." So I had to go get wet and sandy down in the ocean. I get back in there. They take me to the hospital. I get a bone scan. And I had a 13-inch vertical crack down my femur. I had 11 stress fractures on this leg, 7 on this one. And my pelvis had been cracked. And they were like, "We're going to have to roll you." And I was like, "You can't do that. I can't be rolled. I can handle it." And they're like, "No, I'm sorry." So they double rolled me. And when I was there healing up, I was on crutches. I was all...
Yeah.
But I was still getting beat. I mean, I would crutch up into the compound and start to be like, "Go get in the surf." So I was laying out in the ocean in the surf, with my crutches up like this. And it was just... It was terrible. But
Unbelievable.
they finally said, when it was time for me to class up again, they're like, we're going to send you to the hospital and get another bone scan. If your femur's not healed up, then we're going to drop you. I said, no, it's fine, I'm good. And some of the instructors, they had started to take a liking to me. And I was like, no, I'm good. And I passed my class up run, and I got back into the class and started, and then we got all the way to around third phase, and it got to a point to where at night I would take ace wraps and frozen peas, and my bed was elevated at the foot, and I would put frozen peas from my ankles to my hips and ace wrap them, and I'd sleep like that. And then I was just chewing the 800 milligram Motrin, and my suite mate would have to wake me up 35 to 40 minutes earlier before everybody else just to pick me up, so to start walking so my legs would work, and then they would carry me up to the compound. And when we do runs, they would actually push me, or one time they tied a rope to my belt and pulled me through the run. And I would fall down, and they would pick me up. It was the whole team thing. We were a small class now, so I got through it, but it wasn't because I did it as a team. We did it as a team. If they wouldn't have helped me, I couldn't have made it through. My legs were too badly damaged, and I kept showing up. I mean, I've almost died in training more times than I died in combat. So.
Really?
Yes, sir. I never. I don't think about it. Okay. I'd just be laying in the hospital and just like, get me out of here, heal up. I'll be stronger. Every time you heal up, you're stronger. That's the way and you can just feel yourself getting stronger when you've been hurt and you're laying there and you're healing up. I mean, you can actually feel your body getting stronger, and I don't know. I just kind of takes on that superhuman form. You're just like, okay, I'm back. Let's go. And then I'm going to go harder and faster than I did this time. And you don't dwell on the bad stuff.
Marcus, talk to me about when you were wounded and how you made it out, the crawling and all. Just a little bit about that, if you'd tell us.
I wasn't dead.
Horrible fight. Everybody had been killed. Your closest friends.
Yep. Like I said, I wasn't dead, so I wasn't just going to lay there. I had to get out of there, keep fighting. That's what I did. I just started crawling out of there. And then they'd find me, and we'd get into a fight, and I won. And I'd just keep crawling. I'd fall down these mountainsides and whatnot, and then get back up and crawl back up the other side. So.
And there was a point where you couldn't even feel anything, right, from the chest down for a while? Or?
I've been shot in the back, and for the second time, and I rolled down this hill, and everything was pretty much gone from the chest down. But my arm still worked, so.
You crawled and crawled. And then you were taken, you were taken, and these people, to the best of their ability, helped you. And then we sent 16 people in on a helicopter to rescue you. Am I correct? And then it were shot down.
12-year-old boy shot an RPG into the back of it, blew it out of the sky.
12-year-old boy. And then you made it home through a long and crazy turn of events. So the injuries, Marcus, that you had after Operation Red Wing, not only, I cannot imagine emotionally losing your family members, losing people that you were so close to, words can't describe it, but you physically, what did you have to deal with physically after Operation Red Wing? As far as you were shot in the back.
Well, I had multiple injuries. I had 11 through-and-throughs through my calves and quads, a shrapnel hanging out of me everywhere. I'd broken my back in multiple places. My shoulder had been torn. My knees were damaged. I had maxillofacial damage. I'd bitten my tongue in half and swallowed it, and on top of everything else. But once I got back, like I said, they had taken me down to bare bones, to nothing. I was physically weak, and I had been broken. So I just laid there in the hospital healing, and then I healed up, had surgeries. The Taliban kind of destroyed this hand, so I had to have it reconstructed. And then once they put me back together, I went back over, got some more.
Okay, and also too, how about the water and stuff that you ingested? I mean, aren't you still dealing with some of that even to this day?
Yes, sir. Oh, she's still with me. Yeah, it was the coldest water and the most refreshing drink of water I'd ever had my entire life once I got into that village, but I'm still paying for it to this day.
Yeah,
But it's a part of my life now. I don't even
just
think about it.
Marcus, I'm going to talk about commitment and this never quit mentality. Not that we're perfect. I mean, I mess up every day, so do you, so does everybody. But I believe we serve a God who is all about commitment. And even though we've screwed up, even though we're fallen and fallible, that he is all about commitment and he honors commitment. I know, Marcus, there are incredible benefits to never quitting. And one of them, you said it can be even humor, looking back and going, I have a funny story. What would you say are the benefits of never quitting? Not just where you've been as a Navy SEAL, this hero, but I mean just in life, to pedestrians, normal people looking at you and like, well, I mean, I'll never be this guy, but.
Well, I think that goes back to what you're saying about the never quitting part. I mean, I'm nobody special. I don't have some gift that you don't have.
That's right.
So never quitting something allows you to, I guess the best way to put it and the way to say it is because I know what I've done in my past, I have a pretty good idea what can't stop me in the future. And if something does hit me that I haven't experienced before, then I'll just go down to that low gear until I overcome it. And then I just tuck that one down. I'm like, what else do you have for me? So most of the obstacles and adversity that I face in day-to-day life is just something that I don't even notice and I just shrug off. If something really hard hits me, then I have to go down to that low gear to get through it, and then I do it. And just, Charlie Mike, continue the mission.
Benefits, as you mentioned about commitment, would be discipline, endurance, vision, creativity. You can talk about character all day long, but if you don't have commitment, if you're not committed to it, it ain't going to happen.
Right. I mean, you have to see where you're starting. Everyone can see that. And then you have to know what the end game is. And then whatever it is that gets thrown at you in the middle is just static.
That's right. Marcus, let me ask you this: how far, when you fell off the mountain the first time, did you fall? How many? Do you know how many feet you fell?
Probably 6,000 feet down the mountain. And it was after I'd been shot, and I engaged these three guys who had engaged me. And after I had eliminated that threat, I didn't know what to do, so I grabbed a rock and I reached out as far as I could and I drew a line in the sand. I was like, I'm gonna crawl to that till my feet hit it. And if I'm still alive, I'm gonna do it again. That's what I did.
So you reached out, nothing was really working, reached out, except your arms here, drew a line with a rock, crawl past the line, and then drew another one.
Yeah, I did that for 7 miles, and that's when I finally found that, got to water, found a waterfall down on the side of this mountain.
God, what a metaphor. Again, no one will ever find themselves in the situation that you found yourself in, but what an illustration, Marcus, about whether it's school, whether it's about marriage, career, whatever in life. Hey, I feel like giving up. This is a joke. I can't do this or that. Draw that line. It could be 5 minutes. It could be, a day. I'm going to draw that line. If I get to there, then the next day I'll draw another line. Whether someone's battling with addiction, drug addiction, alcohol, whatever it is. I mean, that's powerful because that waterfall is out there. I mean, the stream of water is out there.
Life, actually.
That's right.